Hey everybody, this is Paul with CDA. We're going to go ahead and get started today with mobile guided workflows. And what we're going to do is we're going to break this out into two videos. This video is going to talk about the settings and everything you need to know about the back end of the mobile guided workflow. And then on the second video, we're going to go ahead and show you what it looks like from a technician's perspective. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to Mobile CDA menu. And then what we're going to do is we're going to click on Mobile Preferences. Hey everybody, okay, so what we did is we opened up the preferences, it popped up, and what we're going to do is we're going to look at the 13 different options that apply to the guided workflow. So the first thing I want to point out is that you need to enable guided workflow in order for it to work. Your technicians will know that they can use guided workflow because you're going to tell your tech, hey tech, does it say repair as the last option when you're under more? If it says completed, which is what they're used to seeing, that means that they don't have it enabled, so they should probably log out of the app and log back in. As long as they see repair under more, then they're going to go ahead and they're going to be able to use the guided workflow, which basically means that they're going to have three options. When they're done with the job, they're either going to complete it, they're going to incomplete it, or they're going to reschedule it. So that's the first button you want to go ahead and make sure that you enable. The first thing that we're going to take a look at is we're just going to start up here and then we're just going to work our way down. Is that what requirements do you want to make sure the tech fills in for a job when it's completed or incomplete? And so these are all the requirements that you can tell your technician, hey, make sure you capture all this information. So that's what that's for. The next thing we have is when the technician clicks on repair, he'll be able to complete, incomplete, or reschedule a job. So now what we want to pay attention to is right over here it says, hey, when a job is completed, when you click there, once you capture the customer's signature and everything's done, what substatus do you want it to go to? You just click here and you select the substatus that it goes to, which means that the tech no longer has to select which substatus he is at. So that is what that is for. Let's take a look at the next option, which is going to be right down here. So we say, hey, when the tech goes to incomplete a job, captures the customer's signature, everything works out perfectly, what in-house substatus will it go to? In this case, it's going to go to 300. That's automatically selected. The technician does not have to select it on his own. And then the next one is going to be, hey, when the tech gets to a reschedule, what substatus will it go to? In this case, it'll be 200A. So what you're seeing is that no matter what selection the technician does for a job, it will auto-select what the substatus is going to be. So that definitely will help out with getting jobs to complete a little bit quicker. And then we see, last but not least, at the bottom it says, hey, when a customer is sent a link to schedule online, what substatus does it go to? In this case, it'll go to 199. So in here, you're seeing the customer got a text to schedule themselves. As soon as they're done scheduling it, that claim will go to a 199 substatus. So I just wanted to point that out real briefly for you. So we'll take a look at our next option. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to follow these options right down here. And this is saying, go ahead and show the service codes. And so when your technician is either completing or incompleting a job, you can make the option on whether you want him or her to select service codes. So that's what that is for. Let's go ahead and take a look at our next option. And that's going to be right down here where it says, hey, you need to say what you did in the repair notes. And that's going to be for complete and incomplete jobs. Do you want that mandatory? And that's right here, repair note required. That has to do with that option right down there. And then the next option, I'm going to take my time explaining this because it will seem a little complicated. It's going to say, when adding parts, allowed to continue with no assignment. So what that means, it's going to fall under certain circumstances. So what's going to happen is the tech's going to browse his inventory. He's going to realize he doesn't have a part, so he's going to say, hey, I want to order a part called blower. If the technician says, hey, I want blower, yes, order part, that means that that part request will show up on the parts request dashboard. The front office will order it, tech will come back and install it. Now let's just say the tech wants to add blower because he wants to fill out all the unit price information because he wants to charge the customer for the blower so it shows up on the invoice. So what he's going to do is they're going to click on continue, do not order parts. The part will stay on the claim, the tech will fill in the pricing, but the customer will be charged for that price. So more than likely the technician will click on this when it's a COD and they want to add a part for charging, or if it's a warranty and they want to add a filter, they'll click here, yes, continue. Let's say blower was filter, and now they'll charge the customer and the customer will make payment. So that's what happens when it's enabled. Now let's imagine it's disabled. What does it look like when you disable it? Then the only option for the technician is going to be yes, order a part, or cancel, will not order. So if the tech orders blower, he says yes, it will appear in the parts dashboard, or they only get cancel, which means it will remove the request for the blower. And that's when you disable this option right here when adding parts, allow to continue with no assignment. So that's what that means. You'll probably want to listen to this explanation around 2 or 3 times, but it will make sense what it looks like when it's enabled and disabled. So I just wanted to slowly point that out. The next thing we're going to look at is the balance due. So before the technician can capture the customer's signature, if we notice that there's a balance due, the technician will not be able to go forward for a completed or incomplete claim to get the customer's signature, because we're going to tell the tech, hey tech, there's a balance due, you need to capture $100. As soon as he gets the credit card information, an authorization code comes, then it'll go through, then they will be able to capture that customer's signature. Without paying the balance due, they will not be able to capture the customer's signature. So that what that one is for, which was the balance due. The next one is customer's printed name at the signature when it's required. That has to do with this right here. What is your name? So they manually have to type in what their name is. The reason why, a lot of times the customer may have a signature and say, hey, that's not my line or my squiggly line. They don't remember. And so now what we're doing is we're saying, hey, someone needs to put in what their name is at the point of signing. And that's so you can match up the name with the signature. And that has to do right here. Customer's printed name is required. Let's go ahead and look at our next option, which is going to be take a picture of the model and serial tag. So take a picture of the model and serial tag. And what this means is no matter how many times your technician comes back, he will have to take a picture of the model and serial tag. We definitely hope that you will use this option, because that way you ensure that the technician is always taking a picture of the model and serial tag. And then the next one, which is again pretty self-explanatory, is customers not at home. So this would be when they click on the reschedule, they'll say the reason why it was a reschedule, and then it's going to force the technician to take a picture of the not at home, proving that the technician was there. So lots of options just to get started with enabling guided workflow. So that will complete all the settings that you want to take a look at and see what best fits your company. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a ticket, and what we're going to do, we're going to take a look at the main tab, and then we're going to look at attachments. And I want to show you what we have done to that area when you have guided workflow enabled. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Alrighty, so here we are, we're at the main tab, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on attachments real quick. Alrighty, so here we are. I clicked on attachments, and now we have a bunch of attachments. Now when you have guided workflow enabled, you will start to see that we append different names to files that are captured during the checkout process. So here are just a few files that the technician took before they arrived and after they arrived, hopefully. And then what happened is, let's just say that it was a reschedule. So the technician clicked on the mandatory, hey, you need to take a picture at a reschedule, and so now we label it customer not at home. So that automatically will get labeled. Every time a technician has a reschedule, you're going to be able to find that photo quick and easy when it happened. Now let's just say every time you make the technician take a picture of the model serial tag, so you can say see that he was there this day, then the technician was there that day. So you know, here's a picture of the model serial tag. You see the date stamp. You don't have to guess what is what. You can see that it's clearly labeled. Again, that happens when you have guided workflow enabled. Now let's take a look at when you have a completed invoice. So you'll see we have a completed invoice. It was signed. Then what we did is we appended the technician's name of AJ. So when the technician captured the customer's signature, it was the tech AJ. Let's just say he went back again. It happened to be an incomplete signature, an incomplete invoice. You see, we marked it incomplete and we told you who the tech was, and it was AJ. So those are two examples of the same tech capturing a complete or an incomplete. Now let's say it's a week down the road and this time Dan, the technician, showed up for the complete. So we say, hey, it's a third-party invoice, it's a completed invoice, and the technician was Dan. Again, the same logic would apply. If it was incomplete, it was a third party, and the technician happened to be Dan. So again, what we're showing you is the invoice. So we'll read it backwards. It was the tech AJ. He did an invoice for a complete job for a third party. It was the technician Dan, did an invoice for a complete third party. Again, AJ, invoice incomplete. So you can see, because of guided workflows, now you and your employees can quickly sift through what the attachments look like from the guided workflow. So that's going to complete all of the settings that have to do with guided workflow. On the next video, it will be a complete walkthrough of what it looks like for your technician when they use the guided workflow.